Good evening and welcome to Law Talk, the show that brings the Constitution, the law, and the events of today to you each month. Good evening and welcome to Law Talk. Tonight we have three exciting subjects. What's our first subject tonight, Mark?
Well, the first one is my hero, Koskinen. This guy's done more cover-ups, obstruction of justice, perjury, and sedition. It's really not a capital crime this guy hasn't committed. And I would say he's, he makes Al Capone look like Mother Teresa.
Okay, let me make sure. This guy's already in prison, right?
No, actually, he's running the country now.
What do you mean running the country?
Koskinen is the commissioner of the IRS, and he was in charge of the vote rigging and the cover-up and the vote rigging for the next election. So he's pretty much, they run the country. It's kind of a de facto dictatorship.
Well, I have a question. Wasn't he also the one that said there are no more emails?
Well, there were there till there weren't, and then there were,
and then there weren't.
And they're not now. It just turns out now they're not again.
Okay, now I understand that he said there are no more emails.
Right.
And then he said a week later, we found emails. And then 2 weeks later, he said, there are no more emails. And then he said, we found a backup reel of emails.
Well, no,
and where did those go?
No, but it was the IG,
Inspector General,
that found 422 backup tapes. This all has to do with Lois Lerner and the rigging of the 2008 election and
the 2012 election.
Well, they rigged
it was an election here and there between friends.
Right, whatever. Basically, they knocked out like 20 or 30% of the voting population by indicting them or whatever they did.
Well, no, they failed to allow their 501c nonprofit corporations from being incorporated.
Well, but not only that, they had the alcohol, tobacco people went up, the tax people, OSHA went after them. The whole federal government just pretty much
came down.
Prohibited about like 20 to 30% of the voting population from voting in those elections.
I understand that percentage of the population they tried to suppress was actually a conservative part of the population.
Well, who knows? But anyway, there's 422 backup tapes the IG found, and the IRS has been looking for these tapes for years and years and years.
Oh my God!
Years. But unfortunately, the guy they appointed to look for him was legally blind. But anyway,
not legally blonde?
No, not legally blonde.
That's right, he's bald, isn't he?
So anyway, finally the IG spent like a couple hours and they found the 422 backup tapes, 24,000 emails, and so they gave them to the DOJ and
to entrust them with the DOJ.
Yeah, and so Judge Sullivan, the U.S. District Court in Texas, said, well, I want to see all those backup tapes. I want to see all those emails. And the DOJ destroyed all the backup tapes.
Oh, by accident?
Well,
they're gone.
They didn't understand what the judge wanted. The judge ordered him to not destroy any more backup tapes and bring them to him. And they thought that the order didn't really count because I guess the judge wasn't a Marxist or something, whatever the reason was. But anyway, so they destroyed.
I understand it's because the judge made an order from the bench,
right,
but didn't write it down. So it wasn't really an order. It was it was more like a sort of discretionary request.
So anyway, they said, well, we're waiting for written orders. But anyway, so they...
Did they ever get a written order?
Well, anyway, so the judge was a little upset. He said, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. Why do you need two orders? But the DOJ at this point, it's a de facto dictatorship, and like they've kind of overrun the judiciary. The judiciary is kind of a joke now. It doesn't really count anymore. We just basically have a de facto dictatorship run by thugs.
Wait a minute. The judiciary counts when the right decision comes down.
Yeah, I know, but they're afraid to say anything, right? They don't want to get bumped off. Okay, but anyway, there's so much shredding going on. I was driving through Washington, D.C. the other day, and there was so much shredding. I mean, there's shredding. They're getting rid of emails. They're getting rid of paperwork. They're getting rid of servers. I mean, it's like a ticker tape parade there. It's like confetti. There's so much shredding going on in D.C., you wouldn't believe it. There's stuff flying all over. We were driving along, and actually a bunch of shredded stuff just flew into the window of the car.
Well, what was it? What kind of shredded stuff?
Just some random stuff, but it was like there was one of these memos was about you remember the Obamacare website?
Yeah, it's the Affordable Care Act.
The Affordable Care, they wanted to do a website, and this was like the bidding process for the Obamacare website.
Oh, we found those emails.
So I found this, and so these are the minutes from the meetings, and here it says so Obama was looking for a bid up for the Obamacare website, and then a high school kid from Cupertino, California, came in and said he would do the site for $2 million.
Well, it sounds a lot cheaper than what they actually got it for.
And then Bill Gates came in and said he would do the site for $10 million.
Well.
And then Obama asked for a cost breakdown, and this is what Gates told him. I'm going to test your psychic powers and see if you can see through this blue paper with your mind. And it's amazing how the blue paper that blew in from my window from Washington, D.C. shredding looks a lot like our TV note paper. But anyway, put this up to your mind and read through that blue paper. And what was Bill Gates' answer when Obama said, please give me a cost breakdown for the $10 million?
I read that Bill Gates said, I'm going to have to spend money on hiring new personnel, taxes for hiring the new personnel, liability insurance for hiring the new personnel, state taxes, federal taxes, and that's going to cost $8 million, and then I'm going to pay the guy from Cupertino $2 million.
Well, let's see if that's what it. See what that was actually how it went. It says, well, there's corporate tax, liability insurance, workers' comp, property tax, disability insurance, employment insurance. That's $8 million, and then you pay the kid from Cupertino
$2 million.
$2 million to make the site. Okay, so that's one. Now we had another part of the bidding process. Tawny Tones Whiteley, who you know is Michelle Obama's
best friend from Columbia.
Yeah,
right?
no, it was from Princeton.
Princeton, that's right.
Okay. She came in, she says,
and she runs a Canadian company that actually got the contract.
Yeah, they got the contract, and Obama said, well, how much will it cost to build the site? And she said, well, that for the Obamacare side, and she said, well, that's going to be $2 billion, $2 million. And so Obama asked for a cost breakdown, and what did Tony say? Well, we're going to use your psychic powers, if you can discern through this blue paper that we found floating around in Washington D.C. What did she say?
Tony Tones Whiteley says, $1 billion for you, $1 billion for me, and $2 million for the kid in Cupertino to build the site.
Let's see if that's the correct answer. Let's see. Swami, Jim, $1 billion for you, $1 billion for me, and I pay the high school kid from Cupertino $2 billion to build the site. So that's kind of interesting. Then we found this is kind of a random email. There's a lot of stuff blowing around in D.C.
I just don't understand how all these things can be blowing in windows. It's just unbelievable.
And this is a random email. It says from Xi Jinping, head of the Communist Party in China, and it says to Puppet Obama, good work, Obama. You're the best puppet we ever bought. Like how you bankrupted America, put American debt to China, and dismantled America's military. Here's a $1 billion bonus. And then what did Puppet say to Z? Let's see if you can discern through your psychic powers.
I don't know. This is a tough one.
Read through the blue paper
and
see
see
what he said.
if I can see through the blue paper. I believe our esteemed leader said, you've won. China has won many, many wars over thousands of years without firing a shot, by buying the despots of a variety of countries to ensure that they control those countries. And thanks for making me one of them.
Okay, let's see if your psychic powers are working tonight. And here it says, Puppet to Z. Thanks, Z. China has won wars without firing a shot for thousands of years by buying corrupt foreign despots. I'm glad I was able to get in on the action. So it's just amazing. There's so much flying around lately. And then
you better keep that window open. Who knows what we're going to find next?
You never know what's going to fly in next. But so anyway, now we've got actually they're doing some other things are coming up, lawsuits, and the IRS is actually doing tax audits against political opponents, and they're saying they did 5 times as many tax audits against than
conservatives
than they in the last 15 years. So they've done more and more audits. So before they were just saying you can have your 501, they were closing down your businesses, they were destroying your career and your reputation. Now they're auditing people to death. So basically the FBI and I'm just saying the IRS is pretty much completely controlling the whole voting mechanism. And so they're the de facto Port Bilio of the country now. And so it's kind of set up like a Soviet gulag. You have, the wardens who are Obama and Bonner and all those Boehner and all those guys are all the wardens. You have the guards who are the federal and state employees. You have the trustees, all the people on corporate welfare, all the people that are on union welfare, and then all the people that are, paid welfare for votes, basically. Their job is to complain that the prisoners aren't breaking rocks fast enough. And then you've got, basically 20% of the population who actually work for a living. They're breaking the rocks. While the other people live off the fat ground.
I think what we have to do, Mark, is here. First of all, I don't want to be breaking any rocks, so I think we better move on to our next subject.